but it would probably be better if you just watch it in your own YouTube so that there's no like weird delay for you.
Guys, welcome to another video. You've got Mr. Everything English, and I hope you are all doing well. Now, in this video, guys, this is going to be hopefully the go-to video for you when it comes to language devices. Let's try to cover 25 language devices without me talking forever and ever and ever. I'll try to keep it as short and as succinct as possible, but at the same time making sure you are able to understand each and every language device. Now, before I begin, guys, as always, please click subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you are not doing already. Okay, guys, let's begin. Number one, guys, let's look at pathetic fallacy. Pathetic fallacy is when the weather or the atmosphere describes the mood. For example, if it's really, really sunny, people are normally really, really happy. And if it's raining, people are normally sad. Now, I said atmosphere as well. For example, a dark night. A dark night isn't the weather, but it is the atmosphere. And a dark night brings with it a evil and a nasty atmosphere. So guys, pathetic fallacy is when the weather or the atmosphere describes the mood. Number two, guys, let's look at personification. Personification is when an object, let me rephrase that. Personification is when a non-human is given human qualities. So guys, I repeat, it's when a non-human is given human qualities. For example, this pen, the pen was sitting on the table. Sitting is the human feature. By me saying the pen is sitting on the table, I personified the pen. Number three, guys, let's go for simile. A simile is when you compare two things using like or as. For example, he was as strong as an ox. She was like a gazelle as she walked down the street. Comparing two things using like or as. A metaphor, guys, a metaphor is when you compare two things using is or are. That's the easiest way I can explain it. It's comparing two things using is or are. She is a monster. You are a monster. I've compared two things. There's no like, there's no as. Rather, I've said she is a monster. You are a monster. Number five, I believe, guys. Number five, extended metaphor. An extended metaphor is when you pick a metaphor, explain how, and basically turn it into a long metaphor. For example, life is a roller coaster. This is a metaphor because I've compared life to a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. Now, let's turn it into an extended metaphor by explaining how. Life is a roller coaster. You can never prepare for the ups and downs that it will bring. At the greatest heights, you will be at the greatest heights, and at times it will crash. But every day is never the same. Just the way every turn on a roller coaster is never the same. I've taken the metaphor, life is a roller coaster, and I've basically explained how, making it making it an extended metaphor. All right, guys, I'm going to make a note of the numbers because I'm going to forget. This is number six. Guys, number six, let's go for oxymoron. Oxymoron is when you have two opposite words side by side. For example, the small giant. The small giant is an oxymoron because we have two opposite words, because giants are not normally small. Next, number seven, guys, can we please look at juxtaposition? Juxtaposition is when you have two opposite ideas. How do you create juxtaposition? You get an oxymoron and you explain how. For example, the small giant. This was a metaphor. Let me turn it into juxtaposition. The small giant was tiptoeing, trying to reach the top shelf. However, his small arms and puny fingers would not let him grab the jar of jam. I've turned that oxymoron into juxtaposition by explaining how the giant is small. Guys, number eight, let's go for symbolism. Symbolism is when objects are linked and present meaning. For example, if I wore a face mask, you will all think COVID. If I bought a nappy, you will all think about a baby. If I bought popcorn, you might think of the movies. In Macbeth, the dagger links to death. In Romeo and Juliet, the balcony in the balcony scene could be a symbol for hierarchy. It's when objects can be linked to wider meaning. Guys, number 9. Number 9 is when words across an extract can be linked to one idea. This is called a semantic field. A semantic field, guys, is when words across an extract can be linked to one idea. For example, if I said a ring, gloves, punch, referee, these words link to the idea, link to the field of boxing. If I said 2 meters, hand sanitizer, face mask, these words link to the idea, to the field of coronavirus. Guys, number 10. Let's look at irony. Guys, irony, in my opinion, is one of the most worst explained language devices I've ever come across. Irony, guys, is very, very simple. Irony is when events in the text itself even surprises the characters. For example, when Mr. Burling in Act 3 of When Inspector Calls says, "I'd give thousands, yes, thousands." This is irony because you would never have expected Mr. Burling to be offering money. When Scrooge changes in A Christmas Carol, this is irony because you would never have had expected Scrooge to change. And that is irony. Those are the first 10. Let's move, guys, to 11. I must write it down, guys, because I will forget. Number 11, guys, rhetorical question. This is what it says on the packaging. This is a question in a piece of writing that does not require an answer. How would you feel if, I don't know, how would you feel if you had to wear a face mask all day, for example? Number 12. This one, guys. This you can find anywhere in any piece of writing. Hyperbole. The answer is in the name. Hyperbole is when you hype. Is when you over exaggerate. I'm so angry, I'm gonna kill him. I'm so hungry, I'm gonna eat everything. These are hyperboles because I'm over exaggerating. Number 12, guys. No, number 13. Let's go for assonance. Now, guys, in the English language we have vowels. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sound. If I said, light the fire, I, light in I in light and I in fire. Light the fire is assonance. If I said, I'm too cool for school, ooh. That's me repeating the vowel sound that is created by the letter O. Alright, guys, number 14. This, I really hope I'm the right number. Number 14, guys, this is alliteration. Alliteration is when words in a row begin with the same letter. The big blue ball bounced down the road. B. Can there be a word in between? Yes, that's fine. Can there be multiple words? Try to avoid it. But guys, alliteration essentially is when words in a row begin with the same letter. Number 15, guys, this is the best friend of alliteration. This is sibilance. Sibilance is when words in a row begin with the S letter or have the S sound. For example, if I said the snake was slowly what was that? If I said the snake was slowly hissing. The snake was slowly hissing. That's better. Snake slowly hissing. I've repeated the S sound. This is called sibilance. Number 16, guys, euphemism. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Guys, euphemism, in the most easiest definition I can give you guys, is when you say something in an indirect manner. For example, if I said, guys, you've not got long left. I'm basically telling you that you're gonna die, but I'm saying it in a nice way. If I said, he passed away, he's not with us anymore, that's a nice way of me saying he's dead. These are all euphemisms. Alright, boys and girls, number 17, I believe. Let's go for emotive language. Guys, emotive language is pretty straightforward. It's when the writer makes the reader feel a particular emotion. This would be anger, happiness, sadness, whatever the emotion, as long as you feel it, guys, this is called emotive language. Number 18, guys, let's go for onomatopoeia. This is when words describe sounds. Crack, bang, boom, the car went zoom. These are all sounds. So when a word describes a sound, this is known as onomatopoeia. Number 19, let's go for rule of three. Rule of three, power of three, triplets, whatever your school calls it, it's the same thing. Guys, rule of three is when words or phrases in a row, when there's 3 words or phrases in a row to describe something. For example, I might say, this table is black with 4 legs and is quite hard. Black with 4 legs and is quite hard. This is rule of 3. Number 20, guys, we are on number 20. Let's talk about facts and stats. This is when the writer uses evidence to support what they are saying. If I said, I spoke to 70% of students who said that Mr. Everything English is the best teacher on YouTube. Actually, I think that would be more 95%. But you get what I mean, guys. It's when I give facts and stats. By giving facts and stats, you make your writing more persuasive. You make it more believable. All right, I believe we're on number 21. Is that number 21? I think so. All right, guys, number 21, let's look at plosives. Guys, plosives is the repetition of a harsh sound. Normally, it's the sounds that are created by letters like p, p, or d, d, or k, or t, t. It's the sound that's created by these letters. It's a harsh sound, and this is known as plosives. All right, guys, let's go for number 22. And let's talk about zoomorphism. All right, guys, zoomorphism. Guys, zoomorphism is when words. Guys, zoomorphism is when you give a person animal features. For example, if I said, John barked at me, I'm trying to say that John shouted at me. But by me saying that John barked, I'm giving John animal features of a dog. If you guys have seen The Jungle Book, Mowgli is a character who is soaking in zoomorphism because Mowgli is hanging out with the wolves, he's swinging off trees. This kid loves zoomorphism. It's a human being full of animal qualities. Alright, guys, number 23. This is easy, guys. This is easy, but it counts as a language device, so why not? Guys, opinions. Use it in your writing. Every time you use opinions, these will count. Expert opinions, talk to people. These count as language devices. Number 24, guys. I believe we are number 24. Please talk about repetition. Repetition can be a language device and a structural device. Repetition, guys, is when the writer repeats a word or a phrase for effect. If you are talking about repetition as a language device, then you're talking about what actually is being repeated. If you're talking about repetition as a structural device, you're talking about where it's being repeated and why that is important. And finally, guys, I want to end it with a bit of a broad one. I want to talk about what do you do if you can't find any of the above 24? Then you pick out number 25. Number 25, guys, you pick out nouns, which are naming words. You pick out adjectives, which are describing words. You pick out verbs, which are doing words. And you pick out adverbs, which are words that describe the verb. Guys, those were 25 language devices. I hope the video isn't too long. I hope that I haven't bored you. I hope you made notes as we were going along. Use them in your writing. First and foremost,
Okay, guys. So I'm going to open our
learn them. There's loads more.
Sorry,
That was
give me a moment. Let me just restart this. I'm going to open our MindMeister and add this to the MindMeister. Bop. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is the link to the MindMeister in the group chat on Discord, or is
On
that
Discord.
in the... Ah, perfect.
It is in Discord, in the chats.
Oh golly, what is happening? Actually, I'm not going to do it like that. Okay, so you guys can continue with what we were doing with the text that I posted for you on your Google Classroom. But instead of only doing the form, the purpose, not the purpose, the structure. Also fill in here, like if you notice something in your piece about language, this is a good opportunity to say, okay, here's an example. This is how we would talk about it. And this is what this thing means. Does that make sense?
It does.
As soon as you've, as usual, as soon as you've written something, tell me, then we can go through it, okay? So when you've completed a whole section, so a whole piece of language or a whole piece of structure, tell me, then we can go through it.
Just a question. We're reading these articles from the Google Classroom, and we're analyzing them into the...
Which articles are you talking about?
The list of articles you've put for choose a passage, read it, and link in the mind map. These articles all here.
Oh, yes.
Papers,
Those
yes.
are all past papers, and inside the past papers are three
So
things.
we read them, we analyze them, we put in our...
You don't have to like fully analyze them, but you can just read them and you can be like, oh, okay, here is a structural device, and you can use that. You can talk about that in your thing. You don't have to like separately analyze it.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Is that a much simpler task?
A much simpler task, yes. I might have tried to overcomplicate that.
I'm just going to the bathroom quickly, okay?
Just a question for one of you guys, if you could answer. But if I understand it correctly, we read these articles or past papers, excuse me, and we use them as examples for the topics that are mentioned here in this mind map. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you choose one of them to read, and then you take out those features of structure and put it into the mind map.
I see. So you talk about how it was used in the past paper, and then you just type it into the as an example.
Yeah.
I
And
see.
then Marina said you have to link the paper that you used in the mind map.
Ah, I see.
Quoted from the text, or do we just like paste the link there?
I'm not really sure. I think you can just copy and paste the link with your question, I think.
Oh, okay.
Just a question.
Yes, sir.
For answering, say, I'm wanting to cover spoken language, speech podcasts, all that stuff, and I'm reading an example
Okay, no.
past papers. How do I?
You weren't supposed to necessarily do that. We've moved on to structure and language.
I see.
But in terms of spoken language, so it would be helpful if you guys can do this just for our reference, for our future reference, if we ever want to look at a specific thing. You can go to podcast, and then you can just add a link here. Oh, you can't add a link. Can you paste a link? Okay, but you can just, in the text here, just post a link to whichever paper has like a podcast in. Okay.
I see.
But
So
otherwise,
that's
that's not
what we're
necessarily
going
something
about
you have to
doing.
do.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is the link that we're putting onto these.
So the link that you're putting on is, okay, so if you go down here, wait, where is our language section? Okay, so let's take a language or structure section. So you're reading a piece, okay? You're going through the piece and you see, okay, here's a spot where they are zooming in, okay? Then you're going to explain that. So you're first going to explain, what does zooming in mean? Then you're going to basically write the analytical statement that you would say about the zooming in as you would do it in your exam. And then to that, you're going to attach in a link the Google Drive link.
Oh, okay.
Which is in the Google Classroom. Like, that's very easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now that makes sense. Thank you for clearing that out.
Cool. So it's already on the Classroom's Google Drive. You don't have to put it on your Google Drive and then link it.
Right.
Okay. So if you open the thing, if you open the Google Drive thing, then you'll be able to see it. Okay.
Marinus?
Yeah. Sorry, you're super quiet.
Sorry, I don't know why it's so quiet, but if someone else has already done zoom in, for example, do we also, we find one in the paragraph we're reading, do we also still fill it in, or do we just move on?
You can fill it in if you want, or you can move on, whichever you like. If you feel like you've got a really great example, then add it.
Okay.
More examples is not a problem. Like, some things obviously we see more of, and there are different ways to explain it. And it would also be good to see how different people explain the zooming in different ways. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
I'm just going to the toilet. I'll be back.
Coolios. I'll be back in a sec. I'm just gonna go fetch something. How are you guys doing? Is this more challenging than you expected?
Yeah, I'm still busy with changing tone.
Okay.
I am finished with the change in tone.
Oh gosh, this is supposed to be tone.
I'm back.
Cool. A change in tone is when the mood that the writer created changes as the use of certain language changes. Okay? In the text, an overall negative tone is created by all the description of the rain and water everywhere. The text begins with this tone using the phrase, a massive slate-colored marquee of rain. For example, in the 5th paragraph, however, the tone changes when the writer begins to describe the lights and decorations in the taxi. This tone is in contrast to the tone at the beginning of the text. Soon after, the text returns to its original tone, focusing on the rain and the breakage of the taxi. Okay, you're missing one thing. Okay? This is possibly our most important thing. Why does this matter? Tell me why it matters.
Okay, so can I just type it in?
Yeah, just type it in.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to put you on the spot like that.
Okay.
I think I'm done with dialogue.
I'm looking for dialogue. Where is dialogue? I'm
It's right at
struggling.
the
There's like
top.
so much going on here.
It's under Zulha.
Oh, there we go. It's just like right where my screen was. But it's at the top. A structural feature where the characters are talking. It breaks up the narrative and gives us an idea of which characters are speaking and who or what's being talked about. Okay. In the text, the dialogue between two characters are quoted. What did you see? Asks a calm voice at the other end. Iceberg right ahead, replied Fleet. Thank you, acknowledged the voice with curiously detached courtesy. Nothing more said. This allows us to understand what the text is about and how the characters feel about their surroundings. We could have found this out through the use of through like an omniscient narrator. So how is this specific piece of dialogue? What is special about that? What does that specifically do? It needs to be much more specific, not vague, like how the characters feel in their surroundings. Anything could tell you about that. How does this add to the text? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you can look at the way that the dialogue is structured. You can look at the role of that dialogue in the broader text. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay, because this was about the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
Was it a narrative piece, or was it like there were snippets of dialogue that were being quoted from back then? What was the vibe?
It was. I think this was the only part that was quoted in, like, the only dialogue I think remember reading.
Okay, yeah. So what was the role of that piece of dialogue within the broader text? We need to discuss that. Okay.
Okay.
So that's, again, analytical language needs to improve there.
Okay.
Which one? For the three role step.
Okay, wait. I need to go to my next class. Can I look at that in the beginning of our next session?
No problem.
Cool. I will see you guys on Monday then, right? Yes, we have our double on Monday. Okay. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.